Hello, I'm Nick Waters. I'm joined by Thomas Isaac, and we're going to talk about the upcoming Chinese Brands Going Global seminar in Shanghai on September 16th for the Shanghai World Expo. Now, Thomas is the Director of Research for TNS, the company that carried out a massive research project for this seminar.
Hello, Nick.
Hi. Let me start by asking you, what makes this project so special?
I see this is a survey on brands. So we were lucky to be able to interview true brand experts. So all 490 respondents that we spoke to are senior planners or account leaders from the Big Four ad agencies' global offices. So they have a certain degree of expertise when it comes to understanding brands and branding. This was also a very wide survey, so we've covered 29 countries from all regions of the world. So it gives us a truly global perspective on Chinese brands.
So can you tell us a little bit more about how you actually carried out the survey itself?
See, the survey was done using an online methodology, which makes it much more convenient and efficient when you're trying to gather opinions from 29 countries. The questionnaire itself had close-ended questions as well as some open-ended questions where the respondents could expand on their views. We had three main sections to the interviews. The first was the current perceptions on Chinese brands, and then we asked people what they thought of the future of Chinese brands, and finally some suggestions and strategies for improving brand perceptions.
Okay, well, it's a very large-scale survey. What were the main challenges that you came up against?
I think more than the scale of the survey, when you're talking to senior executives, response rates and timing become big challenges. So it was a bit of a challenge for us to get all the opinions in within the 1.5 months that we had for the study. But we were lucky that the brand experts were very generous in giving us fairly detailed responses to the open-ended questions, and we were able to maintain the high quality profile of respondents.
So there was a lot of interest from the people you surveyed?
I think yes, this is obviously a topic of some interest to them, so they've answered in great detail.
Now, you're going to present the results of the survey at the seminar in Shanghai on September 16th.
That's right.
Can you give us a little sneak preview of what we can expect?
Yeah. Chinese brands are still at an early stage compared to international competitors. And by and large, Chinese brands were considered to be behind the international competition. Now, when we look at the results by region, the Middle East and Africa and developing countries, the perceptions are somewhat better than in the rest of the world. When we look at the strengths and weaknesses of Chinese brands, the key strength is really price and value. And the big weaknesses currently are quality and safety. So if you look at what Chinese brands need to do going forward, the main thing that they need to address are these issues around quality and safety. And then it becomes critical that they communicate any improvements that they make using PR and advertising.
And what's the good news for Chinese brands?
So on the positive side, the vast majority of the brand experts believe that Chinese brands will improve dramatically in the next 5 years. And this is particularly true of the technology and automotive categories. One other very interesting finding from the study was that those brand experts who are aware of specific Chinese brands in a particular category tend to rate Chinese brands in that category much better than Chinese brands overall. Okay? So what this really means is that there are certain Chinese brands in specific categories which have good brand perceptions, but then there is also an overall poorer perception of Chinese brands that needs to be overcome.
So what would your advice be for local advertisers or marketers to cope with this trend?
I think Chinese brands need to continue to leverage on this good value proposition, but it's critical that they do make improvements on the quality and safety side. Okay? In addition to what I mentioned earlier, that these improvements need to be actively communicated using PR or advertising, product reviews, endorsements, and so on. The other critical element is word of mouth. So the brand experts feel that word of mouth is the biggest influencer on brand perceptions. So that is another element that Chinese brands would need to actively manage and use if they want to have fairly rapid improvements in brand perceptions.
And what could Hong Kong's role be in all this? We've got a pretty strong branding and marketing element to Hong Kong. How can we help the mainland brands to actually reach the global markets?
I think Hong Kong has for many years been considered the gateway to China. Okay. One of the advantages that Hong Kong has is that Hong Kong has been on the international scene for many more years and has a pretty good understanding of how the international economy and brands work. So I think there is certainly something that Chinese companies could learn and leverage from having Hong Kong as a part of China now.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Just a reminder that the Chinese Brands Going Global seminar will be on September 16th in Shanghai for the Shanghai World Expo. Don't miss it.